accommodating.
Thank you, Sharon,
Thank
for
you.
you and Iris both for such a wonderful event that you planned. And I hope for those of you that attended that you had a wonderful time, and those of you that didn't, that you please consider attending next year. But remember, you have to buy tickets early because that event sells out quickly.
And congratulations to the winner, a different kind of raffle winners.
Yes,
Congratulations.
we finally gotten a hold of all of the mega raffle winners finally. So all the checks will be out by the beginning of the Monday after break.
And also from next year, so we really want you can nominate yourself, your children, like can be performers, so perform on stage. So we need more, we recruit more people to perform in the event.
Tiffany, shall we get started?
Yes, we would like to call the meeting to order.
I second that.
Thank you.
Great. And we will post the minutes from our last meeting so that we can get those approved shortly. All right, I just tried to post them. Let's see if anyone can see them. Somebody open that up and see if you can see the minutes. If not, we'll ask Tiffany to take, they opened for me.
Yes, I could see it.
Wonderful. We'll give you a couple of minutes to take a look at the minutes from our meeting in January, and then we'll vote to approve those minutes. But we'll give you a couple seconds just to take a look.
I can't see the minutes.
The meeting minutes are in the chat. In case anyone was, I did not share my screen. I just put the link in the chat. All right, we'll give you one more minute, and then we will vote on the minutes. Thank you. All right, everybody. I hope that's enough time. If it's not, just please let us know. But at this time, we'd like a motion to approve the minutes from our PA meeting from January.
Okay.
Dale,
Approve.
a second.
I approve.
I approve.
Dale, did you have a question? I saw your hand raised.
I think maybe that's what he meant by approving.
Okay. All right. If you do, oh, thank you, Dale. If anybody has a question, please go ahead and put it in the chat. Thank you. All right, we're going to see if any of our committee members, I'm sorry, it says AP bills will be sent out. We'll get to questions about, Mr. Newman will be here this evening to answer questions, so we'll get to the questions a little bit later. So our minutes are approved, so now we'll talk to our committee members and see if anybody, Sharon, if you just want to give a quick load, we were already just talking about the Lunar New Year and just a summary of what a nice event it was.
Oh, yes. Thank you, everyone. Like, just in case you join later, like we just mentioned about that about like 10 minutes ago. And it was a wonderful event. And it's good to see many current parents and TED alums and even their friends. So it's so happy to see an event could have so many different groups. So, a parent told me that like she met a middle school friend from the event. So they did not keep in touch for like maybe 20 years. And suddenly they met in the event. So both of the kids are 2028 freshmen. So it's so good. So it happened to probably like couple parents. They told me that it's so nice to reconnect with people they know. So this is the one of the purpose we would like to provide a platform to allow the current parents and the TED alums and their friends and family, or maybe the future potential parents, to gather together and to exchange information and for education, for everything. And the most wonderful and important purpose is to raise the money for PA. Thank you very much. So we hope to see all of you return in next year to celebrate the Year of Horse. And we would like to see more talented students and parents perform on stage. Don't be shy. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Ken, are you ready to share your screen and talk about money that we've earned, money we've spent?
Yeah. Am I up? Am I next?
You are next if you'd like to be.
Okay. I'll see how this thing works. But I just want to echo what Sharon said. I actually saw my junior high school friend from the event. We were in junior high school ballpark 50, 60 years ago. So it's hard. It's good to reconnect with the folks. So anyway, let me know if you can see my screen. I'm not very good with Zoom. So look, for those of you who have joined PA meetings in the past, you know that DOE requires every PA PTA to issue two reports, one in the January for the interim financial report and one at the end of the school year in June. So we just finished the report last month, and it was sent to the school, and I would like to share with you a couple of highlights of the report. Nothing super exciting, but just a couple of numbers, if not all numbers. So starting from the left-hand side, you can see that we started the year with a little bit over $400,000 in the bank. And as of last month, we recorded income of $250,000, representing 67% of our annual fundraising target. The majority of it came from the annual appeal. So thank you, followed by Lunar New Year event, merchandise, and sponsorship. And based on the DOE formula, after combining the beginning cash balance, that brings our total income to about $653,000. And then moving to the right to the expenses, I won't go through every single one of them, but I'll just mention a couple of highlighted major spendings that we incurred year to date. You can see that we spent almost $40,000 on teachers' wish list, as well as the repair of the sound system in the auditorium. Next, we have freshman orientation of $14,000, followed by $36,000 in Naviance. And other major items include parent-teacher conference platform, PA hospitality, including the meals, breakfast, dinners with Mr. Newman, Naviance, college essay support, and that brings our total spending to $145,000 year to date. So subtracting that from the DOE formula, we have about a little bit over $500,000 cash in the bank. And since we talk about so much about Lunar New Year, let me just flip to my next slide. Okay, so I just want to update you some numbers about the event from last week. I'm happy to say that it came to a successful conclusion. I know a lot of people spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of endless nights putting this event together. So last year in 2024, we raised about $23,000. And then I'm happy to say that we achieved a higher amount this year. And in fact, this is based on the records that I'm seeing, this is a record number since we initiated the Lunar New Year celebration. This year, based on my preliminary number as of today, is $25,000, including the checks to the mega raffle winners. I don't know why, for some reason, the third and fourth winners, they were a little shy coming out, but Kim was able to get a hold of them, so their checks will be available after the break. So, I hope you enjoy the highlights that we share in the beginning. And if not, I think Sharon mentioned that in the next Tech Talk, we will include some music, some graphic digital enhancement to make those pictures more exciting. And I'm sure that going forward, we will make this an even more successful event for the years to come. So a big shout out to the volunteers, for all the PA members that contributed to the success of this event. So that's pretty much all I have. And this wraps up my report. And any questions, please feel free to contact me in the chat, and I'll turn it back to Kim and Tiffany. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
Do we have any other committee members that would like to give an update before we get to our guest speaker?
Kim, can I add a few more sentences?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ken, for the update. So it was wonderful. We can achieve our goal and can increase a bit. So any penny counts to us, to our team. Yeah. So as what I just mentioned, we are going to share the video, the pictures, the highlights of the event, and the most important thing is we are going to thank all the volunteer sponsors and also the performers in the same TED Talk as well. So it would happen after the break because student media, they're so busy. So next week they're off school, so they can be able to spend some time to work on it. So thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Tiffany, I don't see Leslie. I had her involved in a meeting for the last hour, so I'm sure she's going to join shortly. But would you like to talk a little bit about the gala?
Sure. And I was actually going to ask Teresa, I don't know if you want to discuss any of the other stuff from the last meeting. But yes, everyone, the gala save the date is Thursday, May 22nd. Tickets will go on sale soon, so just be on the lookout for your emails. We are at the Dyker Heights Golf Course, so we have a great space, and we'll also be sending out the letters to solicit donations. If you know anyone, any businesses, if you have a business or anything that you're trying to get rid of, we will start collecting basket items soon. So just please look out for your emails for tickets and raffles items.
Yes, expect a lot more to come on the gala. This is the first time we're holding it at Dyker. So we're excited about it, and hopefully many of you can attend that event as well. Do we have any other committee members that would like to, any of our board members that would like to add anything before we turn it over to Modern States?
Hi, this is Naeem.
Naeem.
How are you guys? Just a little update on fundraising. You guys just mentioned the gala. I'm glad the Lunar New Year event went well. My table had very good luck, and we're happy about that. But the 22nd, we're working with a lot of local sponsors in the Dyker Beach area. I live literally around the corner from the golf course, so we're going to initiate and engage a lot of the local businesses, both around tech and also in southern Brooklyn, where a lot of students live, and where I lived and where I went to tech as well. So I'm working on that, and also a lot of major sponsors. And I believe we're going to have a raffle for that too, all that information. So just like Tim said, wait for the information and we'll keep you updated at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think Teresa has something.
We just wanted to also unveil that the theme for the event right now is called Kicks and Cocktails. So Nadej and I, who were partners in crime, we're going to be working on soliciting donations for baskets. So be on the lookout for Amazon wish lists and for concepts that we're working on for baskets. In addition, we are also looking for sponsors for the Kicks, which is the sneakers that are going to be auctioned off. And if you know of a liquor distributor or anything like that, that would be the cocktails portion. So those would be baskets that we're looking for, local liquor stores that want to just, donate. But again, keep your eye out for our email, because we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for people that are creative, that want to help out. All hands on deck to make this a great success for the kids, because that's, at the end of the day, that's who we're doing it for. It's for all the kids.
Thank you, Teresa. And Adaj too. I know you both have been working so hard behind the scenes. Something else we wanted to mention is I know we mentioned this before, but the spring is coming, and we believe in March that we will have our new merch going out. We had a great meeting today with some design ideas. There is a new student orientation in March that will be releasing exclusive merch then. So we'll keep you guys posted. Maybe I'm not sure. I don't have it on the top of my head just when the March meeting is, but hopefully we just can get some new merch, and it's very nice. It's very exclusive, different colors and designs, not just the typical tech logo. So we hope that you all can support the school also by getting some new merch.
It's really nice. And we're gonna have an online store that Horia has helped get up and running. So we're gonna have lots of new and exciting things this year. Things that you might actually want to wear, and not just to gym, but that I think that I would actually wear, and my kids that graduated would actually buy. So yeah, please look. We'll have emails going out about all of it. All right, anybody else before we introduce our guest speakers? All right, at this time, we'd like to introduce Jefferson and Carol. They are here from Modern States. We've made both of you co-hosts, so if you need to share your screens, feel free. Go ahead, and we're going to hand it off to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Great. Thanks so much, Kim, and appreciate everybody welcoming us in. I look out on tech from my apartment just north of LIU. So I was thinking I was going to be in the auditorium or in the school with some of y'all, but hopefully I'll have a chance to meet you in person as some of this work moves forward. And before it happens, a 3.5-year-old or an 11-month-old may interrupt me as I'm currently camping in their room. So if that happens, we'll go with the flow. They'll say hi at a different stage of the parenting journey than a lot of folks on this call. So forgive any interruptions as we go. So let me just quickly say what we're going to do. We'll do introductions of ourselves. I'm going to share my screen and just walk folks through a handful of slides about what Modern States is, what we do, how we think we can be a resource for your kids, your families, your communities, really anybody who's looking to go to college and earn a college degree. And we'll move relatively quickly through those. We'll share the slides with Kim and folks afterwards, so folks don't need to take furious notes. And then with whatever time we have left at the end, happy to take questions or talk through anything that folks are wondering after we get done. But just very briefly, I'm Jefferson Pestrunk. I'm the executive director of Modern States. Have been in that role for about 18 months, but have been working with the New York City Public Schools for close to 25 years at this point in a wide range of roles. So really, really excited to be here and talking to folks tonight, and even more excited that there are 108 parents, at least as of the moment, who have made time on their Thursday evening to be part of a school community. So just makes me feel very warm as somebody who spent my career on public education. So Carol, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Carol Adasi. I am a program assistant at Modern States, focusing primarily on the New York City high schools. And I'm really excited that we are here tonight. And I too look forward to meeting you all in person as we go forward.
Great. All right, let me see if I can get the screen shared. Carol or somebody, can you just give me a thumbs up that you're seeing the slides? All good? Great. Okay. So what is Modern States and what do we do? So we're a New York City based nonprofit. We support learners all across the country, and we really exist for one reason only. We aim to make a high quality college education affordable and accessible for all learners. I want to just for a second talk about that all learners piece. Given who you are and why you're here, I'll talk about our programs mostly from the lens of how they can be valuable to high school students. But that all learners piece means all learners. What we're going to talk about is open to your tech learners. It's open to any of your other children. It's open to yourself. It's open to your cousin. Anybody who is compelled by what we'll talk about tonight can use Modern States and can access anything that we'll talk about that isn't something delivered directly through Tech as a school. The program itself is open to all. So I suspect that I don't need to start here in this room, but I always like to start with why we exist before talking about what we do. We're an organization that thinks that access to college is a foundational component of allowing folks to live the life they want to live and make choices across their lifespan that lead to the life they want to live. There are a bunch of reasons for that I think are easy to gloss over, but individuals who have a bachelor's degree on average earn twice as much as individuals who have a high school diploma or less. In times when the economy is tough, unemployment is half as large for folks with a bachelor's degree or higher. And so the economic rationale for going to college is pretty clear. People with college degrees are more likely to vote. They're more likely to volunteer in their community. It's a thing that allows people to play a role that they want to play. So from where we sit, we spend a fair amount of time wondering, okay, so why doesn't that resonate with everyone? And I don't think it's super hard to understand. Even after controlling for inflation, the cost of college has gone up 2.5 times in the last 50 years. And maybe more importantly, going to college is an expense you pay up front, and the benefits of college are something that you get over an entire lifespan. Nothing complicated about why it's hard to put together $28,000 a year for something that's not going to pay off for a while. And you see the challenge in the accumulating college debt. It's gone up 7x in the last 20 years. The amount of college debt now exceeds the amount of credit card debt in the country. It's non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. It's a serious challenge, and I think it pushes a lot of people to conclude that they can't do college, or college isn't for them, or they're going to go into debt if they decide they want to go to college. And so that's where we come in. We have worked with schools across New York City for more than 5 years. Schools across the country. At this point, we have learners in about 2,000 colleges and north of 4,000 high schools who recognize that college is expensive, but that Modern States offers students a way to earn credits on their own time and save money. So how do we do that? We basically combine two things that existed prior to us, but haven't been combined in the way that we use them. So the first is MOOC style courses. For folks who aren't familiar with that acronym MOOC, it stands for Massive Open Online Courses. They are online courses that are open to anybody and are designed to serve thousands or tens of thousands of learners. If you've heard of Coursera, if you've heard of edX, you've heard of organizations that build MOOCs. Khan Academy is very similar to a MOOC in that it's open to anybody, is largely asynchronous, but the goal is to be able to deliver high quality, flexible learning opportunities. We think all of those programs are great. And if you're really interested in astrophysics and you want to learn astrophysics from an MIT astrophysicist, traditional MOOCs are fantastic. They do a great job of democratizing access to knowledge. What they don't help you do is actually earn anything that you can take with you that helps you on a journey towards a credential that is valuable and durable. And so we combine MOOC courses with what are called the CLEP exams. I'll come back in a couple of minutes and talk in a little more detail about what CLEP exams are. But all you really need to know is that they are basically AP, they're basically advanced placement exams that are just the exams. They don't historically have courses associated with them. And they've historically been targeted at adult learners who wanted to go back to college or go to college in the first place after they have been out in the world, learning whatever they're learning, and should have a mechanism to earn some credit based on what they already know. We have sort of repurposed CLEP exams and broadened their applicability to build courses that give anybody the opportunity to learn what's tested on the CLEP exams, and then use the CLEP exams to earn college credit that is transferable nationwide. And from our perspective, it really is a new model of college access that allows anybody who wants to put in the time and effort to earn college credits in areas that they're interested in. So that's the sort of big structure of the model. 4 things that I want to just point out about our model before continuing to dive a little deeper. First is that, from where we sit and as evidenced by student outcomes, our courses are high quality. We've built them with professors from top universities across the country. They are subject matter experts in the content that they have recorded for us. And then learners who complete our courses and take the CLEP exam pass that exam at rates in the low 70%. So learners who put in the time are very likely to pass the CLEP exam. Second, the courses in our model is designed to be flexible. Our courses are available 24/7 online. You can move at your own pace. And part of what's really powerful about the CLEP exams is that anybody can test whenever they're ready. You test it at testing centers across the country. Lots of high schools have stood up their own testing centers to allow students to test within the building. But it means that not everybody has to be on the same journey. If one of you signs up for a course and it's something that you understand better than me, you can move through it quickly and test, and I can take my own time and take 2 or 3 times as long in the course as you might take, and then test when I'm ready to. Totally fine. You don't have to design an entire year-long sequence around leading up to the exam. Third, and we bury the lead a little bit on this, it's all free to Modern States learners. We build the courses and offer them online for free. And learners who take and complete our courses can get a voucher from us, basically a coupon that lets them take the CLEP exam for free. The exams themselves, like AP exams, are just under $100 to take, but learners who take and complete Modern States courses in preparation can get a voucher where we will pay for the cost of that exam. Then none of that would really matter if the results weren't valuable. So CLEP exams, much like AP, translate into college credit at about 3,000 colleges and universities across the country, including every school within the CUNY system, every school within the SUNY system. So just briefly, what courses are we talking about? There are 32 courses in the Modern States catalog. There's one that's matched to each of the CLEP assessments. They fall into these 5 areas. We'll share these at the end, as I mentioned, so you can take a closer look. But they're basically, 100 level or gen ed courses. They're the courses that students will encounter in freshman year, particularly courses that are sort of outside the major and our core college courses. Areas like business, comp and lit, history and social sciences, science and math, and world languages. So pretty broad spread. And learners can take one of the courses if they're interested in one course, or learners can take all of them. Either of the options is great by us. When they sign up for a Modern States account, a learner's gonna, find the course catalog. Like I said, can pick one or many courses, and then they'll move through courses on our online learning platform. Each course is broken up into a set of modules and submodules. There are video lectures that the professors have developed for each of those modules that covers the core content, free textbooks that are part of the courses that are available digitally to reinforce and go a little bit deeper on some of the content, and then quizzes that are embedded along the way in the course so that learners can track their progress. At the end of the course, we have a final exam. The final exam is the thing that learners ultimately need to pass in order to be eligible for the CLEP voucher. And learners who pass the quizzes along the way unlock the final exam, and a 75% on the final exam qualifies a learner for a CLEP voucher. I'm just noticing a question in the chat. Carol, if there are ones there that I should hit, feel free to come off mute and just flag for me. I won't necessarily see them as I'm screen sharing. So in lieu of the AP exam or equivalent, great question. So, I would think of them in most cases as complements to the AP exams. A lot of the subjects overlap. The content tested on equivalent exams is, again, very overlapping. It's not identical. There are subjects that are covered in CLEP that are not covered in AP. There are subjects covered in AP that are not covered in CLEP. But they are both exams that are created by the College Board, which I'll talk about in just a second. They're both exams that confer credit at a really broad range of institutions across the country. For both AP and CLEP, different colleges and universities make their own decisions about which exams they accept, what they use as the cut score, what they count for as an equivalent. But it's a way for a student who, doesn't have time, or there aren't enough seats in an AP class, is wanting to do something over the summer or on their own time, to gain access to additional learning opportunities that are ultimately college credited. So I've talked about CLEP a bunch. Let me pause and sort of come out of what we do at Modern States to talk about the exams for just a second. So CLEP stands for College Level Examination Program. Like the AP, like the SAT, they're developed and offered by College Board. They've been offered for more than 50 years, so they're not a new set of exams on the landscape. They're well validated and widely used, and they really are designed to allow learners of any age to show mastery on college level material. You might ask yourself, okay, why does College Board have the AP and the CLEP exam? I mentioned earlier that one way to think about CLEP is that they are AP exams without the courses. That's why they exist. CLEP exams have historically existed to allow learners who already know the content to take the exam as a way of getting college credit for what they already know. The AP program is designed to teach that content through the AP courses and then test it on the exam. But from our perspective, the only thing that is different between a learner who knows something and one who doesn't is the opportunity to learn the content. And so that's what we offer with the courses that allow these exams to be accessible to anyone. I've mentioned a few of these advantages to the CLEP exams relative to the AP and some other programs, but want to just hit a couple other ones. So, the first one is CLEP exams are much more accessible in a lot of ways than AP exams. And what I mean by that is the exams can be taken whenever students are ready to take them, and they can be taken by learners of any age or geography, anybody who is ready to take the exam. Second big advantage is that CLEP exams return scores to students basically immediately. When you walk out of the room, you have your unofficial score. And so it's not a 4 to 6 week delay before you know how you've done on the exam. Basically walking right out whether you are likely to get the college credit at a range of institutions. You also can retake CLEP exams. If you score close to a passing score and don't quite make it, you can study the material again and retake the exam. And because the exams are computer-based, it contributes to these other benefits here. Learners are taking exams on a medium that they're increasingly familiar with. They're scored quickly. Individual schools can stand up their own testing centers. There also are remote proctoring and testing options. I'm not going to hit the 3 items on the right side too much because I've already hit them a little bit. but happy to answer any questions about those as well. So, I mentioned it wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't valuable. This is just a very small share of colleges and universities that accept CLEP exams for credit. If we put all 2,900 on here, you wouldn't be able to see any of them. But for New York City students, CUNY and SUNY are particularly important, as well as a range of other colleges and universities in the Northeast. But there are colleges in every state that accept it, including most of the state flagship public universities. And then, why should you believe us that this works and this is good? So we're already doing what we're talking about here at quite a large scale. We are talking with leadership at Tech and other schools across New York City about ways that we can support students in the city even more. But in 2024, we had about 140,000 learners who were actively taking courses. About 27,000 of those learners completed courses and then attempted exams through Modern States funding, and ended up passing exams, saving, by our estimate, about $40 million in overall college tuition. There are lots of reasons why learners may take Modern States courses and then not actually take the CLEP exam. The U.S. military will pay for active duty service members to take CLEP exams. Lots of learners anecdotally use our courses as supplements to things they're learning in college or elsewhere, where they just need somebody else to explain a course a little bit differently. So not everybody is aiming to make it through, but tens of thousands of learners a year do. Okay, last two slides, then I'm going to shut up. I'll answer questions and happy to talk about whatever folks are interested in. So 2 ways to get involved. First one, just as an individual. As I said, anybody can go to modernstates.org, click that sign up button in the upper right, start taking courses. You can also go straight to register.modernstates.org. That'll put you right on our registration page. There are a number of questions that get asked on that registration page about demographics and geography and other things. None of those are about eligibility or qualifying for Modern States. Everyone can use us. They're questions that just help us understand who we're actually serving, who we're serving well, who we need to improve how we serve. They're sort of descriptive questions that we use. Once you've created that account, you can do it in about 5 minutes. You can immediately start taking one course. You can immediately start taking 32 courses and figure out what you like. You move through the courses on your own time. And when you get to the end of the course, you can request a voucher from Modern States. At that point, you basically exit our system. You work with the College Board's website like you would for SAT or AP to register for an exam and find a testing center and actually take the exam. And then you'll get your score back and have a sense of what you can actually do with that score. Hopefully it's saving time and thousands of dollars. And then this last slide, with a lot of parent associations, I probably wouldn't talk through this one because it's really designed to help schools think about how the school implements. But knowing, the motivation and academic engagement of students at Tech, my suspicion is that there are students who themselves would want to, or parents who would want to sort of self-organize to take advantage of Modern States courses, study together, do a range of things. And so, we really see 4 different ways at the highest level that institutions use Modern States. First one, we call it introducing. It really is just making sure that people know that we exist. They know that if they want to put in the time and effort and study a course, they can take a college level exam for free. So, if you walk out of here and you tell somebody about Modern States, you are already doing Model 1. Models 2 and 3 are just about creating some social context for Modern States. Not every learner learns better when they're working with peers, but most learners do. It helps us hold ourselves accountable. It helps us get unstuck when we have questions. Models 2 and 3 are about creating that context. In some cases, it's just about a space where students who might not have a high quality internet connection at home can come together and watch videos. Or it might be a place where somebody who knows the subject matter at an expert level can actually provide some ad hoc tutoring that sits alongside our courses. And then Model 4, a little less relevant for this audience, but it's about schools integrating modern states into courses that get offered during the school day anyway. So if there are elective courses that don't culminate in an AP exam or otherwise provide opportunities for college credit, but do have a CLEP exam, we have schools that map our content onto what they're doing during the school day and provide opportunities for learners to engage in that way. So, as I said, we have a whole bunch of schools across New York City that are already using it. One of the schools that's been using it for the longest is a charter high school out in a little further out in Brooklyn called Mesa Charter High School. Paji Chung, who's the co-ED there, has been a strong advocate. If you go to our website, you'll find a couple of videos that feature her. But they really have pulled CLEP and Modern States into just what they do as a high school to make sure that they as an institution can live up to the promise that learners can get access to as many advanced courses as they want and get a head start on an expensive and time-consuming journey, but one that's really worth it. So as we shift to questions, I'll leave this slide up. It's got my email, it's got Carol's email, got our director of operations email, but would love to take any questions, comments, anything else that is on folks.
Thank you. Thank you, Jefferson. And I just want everyone to know we have recorded this, so all the slides will be available in the next couple of days for anybody that missed anything. It's also on YouTube, so it will be available for you. So don't fret if you came in late. You'll have access to all the material. So there's a
so I'm just
question.
looking.
You see the questions there? Why are you called Modern States?
That's a great question. When I joined the organization 18 months ago and started meeting with our board, every one of them said to me, when are you going to change the name? And I said, guys, I just got here. Give me a little bit of time to get familiar. So the short answer is that Modern States started life as an organization that was going at this problem in a little bit of a different way than we are now. So we started life sort of following on the initial MOOC movement when Harvard was putting all of its videotaped lectures up online and anybody could watch them. And our founder looked at that and said, you get credit for sitting in that auditorium as a Harvard student. Why shouldn't somebody else who sits and watches all of those videos and can demonstrate their learning get credit for watching those courses? And so the original idea, colleges and universities in the US have to go through accreditation that is part of how they're able to award degrees that mean something. And so we were initially envisioned to be a new accreditation organization that would accredit MOOC courses so that anybody could get credit for those. And most of the accrediting agencies are called things like the Mid-Central States Accrediting Association or the Northeast States Accrediting Association. And so we were the Modern States Accrediting Association. We were saying there's a different way to provide access to college level learning and college credit for anybody who wants to do it. So that's what Modern States do. And when we shifted the organization's goal, we already had a logo and a range of other things. And so we became the Modern States Education Alliance, but kept the Modern States piece. Sorry for a long answer, but it doesn't have a straightforward path from A to B. So I see a question here. Is there a full list on the website of the colleges? Carol answered that in the chat, but yeah, so there is a tool on the Modern States website. It's not as visible yet as it should be because we just rolled it out, but it will be shortly. And there's a tool on the College Board website that is a college search so that you can see who accepts CLEP exams. The one thing I'll note is that reflects the information that colleges share. They don't always keep that information up to date. So treat it as, directionally accurate. Treat it as something that helps you see the breadth of acceptance. But if you or your children are gung-ho on going to a particular college or university, please always consult that college or university's CLEP policy directly rather than going through us. If you Google the name of a school and say, you know, whatever, Brooklyn College CLEP, you'll in most cases come to a page on a college's website where they detail their CLEP acceptance policy. And then I see there's another one. Just want to confirm, if students take the college level course equivalent to AP Biology, for example, over the summer, they take the CLEP and not the AP exam. Is that correct? Yeah, and so Carol answered that as well in the chat. That's right. The one thing that I'll note, and you know, biology is an interesting example here. Some courses, particularly AP Biology and AP Chemistry, if you're a student who wants to major in that subject in college, you should pay particular attention to the acceptance policy of colleges and universities. CLEP exams in our courses don't have a laboratory component, right? There's no way that we could offer a laboratory component because we're entirely virtual, which means that there are a large share of colleges and universities out there that will give science elective credit for those courses, but you couldn't use the CLEP chemistry course as the first course in your sequence if you wanted to major in chemistry. So the broad strokes of the question is exactly right. If you take our course, it'll prepare you for the CLEP exam, not necessarily the AP exam. But for a couple of the courses, there's a more sort of nuanced point about how they're treated by colleges and universities. How do we support ourselves and pay the teachers, et cetera? Great question. So we're fully philanthropically supported. We get support from a number of sort of large institutional foundations like the Carnegie Corporation of New York and the Mother Cabrini Health Foundation. We get extensive support from our board, which is comprised of a lot of folks who have been invested in economic mobility and sort of social opportunity for a long time, and they see this as an extraordinary way to provide that opportunity. And then how do we pay the teachers? So because we build the courses and they're video courses, we pay them to build the courses with us. But then once they exist, anybody can take the course. It's part of the virtue of a MOOC style courses. You can build it one time, right? It's like filming a movie on that and putting it up on Netflix. Once you've done that, it stops only being available to the people who can go to the theater and see it and starts being available to everybody. Priyanka says a student can take 2 AP and 2 CLEP a year, just for example. Yeah, that's right. So I know that one of the reasons when we came in and talked to Mr. K and the guidance staff, one of the reasons that Modern States resonated with them was the challenges, particularly going forward, around students only being able to take 3 AP courses a year. Sorry if I don't get that policy quite right, but so this is a mechanism to allow many others to take whichever courses they want. If they can't fit a course they want into their schedule, they can do that. And quite frankly, they could take 32 CLEP in a year. We have learners who are passing 15 or 20 classes over the course of a year. And while most colleges or universities will give you a year's worth of credit, or up to a year's worth of credit, and limit it at that for credit by exam that you come in with, there are increasingly colleges and universities, particularly sort of non-traditional schools like Western Governors University or Southern New Hampshire University, that will actually let you earn a whole lot more than just 1 year's worth of credit. And so you can come in with, basically all your electives taken care of and just focus on your college major courses. So I think I hit everything in the chat. I'm very happy to, if there are folks who want to come off mute or ask any other questions, address them, or also very happy to leave folks to their Thursday evening and share the slides, and you all are welcome to reach out.
Well, I hope everybody's looking because it does. Did you say that all SUNYs and CUNYs accept all CLEPs? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause we have a lot
Again,
of-
they each have their own policies about what the calculus CLEP transfers in for, right? They don't all treat it the same way. An ongoing frustration of ours, but that I get. Every college doesn't have the same intro catalog, and doesn't treat things in the same way, so that's variable. But yeah, there's very wide acceptance of the exams, including in those two systems.
That's great because we do have a lot of students that attend
Right.
SUNY.
Yep.
Does anybody else have another question? Jefferson, this has been, it's very informative. And I think with the changes that are going on, I think this is going to be an option for a lot of families. And we
Great.
really appreciate you taking the time, both of you, to come here tonight. Again, before we let them escape, any more questions?
The only just
Please go ahead.
last thing I'll say, again, emphasis on the all learners. If you don't feel like this is right for your child right now, but it feels right for you, this is as open to you as it is your child. It's as open to your, brother or cousin or your friend down the street. So we really exist because we've all benefited from a college education helping us live the life that we want. And we think it's a critically important path to be open to anybody. So Kim, thanks for inviting us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jefferson.
And-
Thank you, Carol. We really appreciate it. This is a lot of information. And again, everyone, you can see the slides again and get more information. You can visit their website definitely to get more information as well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We
Have a great
appreciate it.
night.
You too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. I believe that Mr. Newman is, yes, he is here. Mr. Newman. Very, probably
I'm here.
traveling. Hello.
I'm at a train station, but I'm here. Wow, for 1 second, it's a train closing. I'm gonna mute for a second and get a seat.
Go
we'll
for it.
continue in a moment.
That's fine.
Just-
We'll see if
just
there's
give
any
me-
questions that we can answer while you're getting on the train. Today was a day where SLT, normally we don't have SLT and the PA meeting on the same day, but today they fell at the same time. So we'll give Mr. Newman a couple of minutes. And does anybody have any comments or questions that you'd like to ask Tiffany or myself or Ken or anyone on the board? Please go ahead. We'll give him a couple of seconds to get situated. No one is curious today. Does anybody, are we expecting any questions today? I know the kids had the major fair today, and I'm sure Mr. Newman is going to share some information with us on that. The kids have plenty of time to sort of absorb all the information they got today. They don't have to make a decision tonight. In fact, even if they do make their choices and they change their mind, they've got time to do that up until the deadline. Because I know my kids did that, and it will go by whatever the last the last choice you make. So if your kids do it and then they change their mind overnight, it's okay. They can make that change.
Okay, Kim, I'm ready when you are.
All right, go for it. Let's see. We've got a question. They're asking, are breakfasts and dinners with the principal still happening? Someone said they signed up months ago and never heard back. I don't know if you signed up correctly because there was a Google form. We are done for the year. We will do more breakfasts and dinners in the fall of next year. But there were Google forms because many people, Monique handled that, and they were almost all sold out. So I don't know. Maybe you should email us and let us know, and we'll make sure that next year you get the information. But we send out Monique, are you here?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Hi.
So you
Yeah,
want to explain the process?
yeah, the Google Forms basically, the way they're structured, when you signed up, you selected a date, and once you entered the information and submitted the form, you would get an email confirming that date and time, and then you calendar it and you basically show up. So I don't know what that person may have signed up for. They would have gotten an email, like almost instantly, just letting them know that the form was accepted and that that date is locked in and they have a slot. So,
Or maybe it was just technical like me, where I get all the way to the end and then I forget to hit send, which I've
Yeah.
done more than once. So it could just be that, but we will be doing it again next
Mhm.
fall, and it's a great time to talk to Mr. Newman. Mr. Newman, do you want to talk a little bit about the major fair and the deadlines for the kids?
Sure. So the major fair was today. It was a very big success. I think all 10th graders were accounted for and present, so that's great. They got a lot of information. The deadlines are March. The portal's already open. They got an email I think I sent the email to parents as well. It went out, I think, exactly at 4:30. It had the link, a little bit of information with the link on how to do the survey. To link to the survey, I'm sorry. And then information once you get to the survey and how to do it. I also gave a presentation to all 10th grade right before the fair. They have until March 3rd. That is a Monday at 11:59 at night, literally as soon as we hit midnight, but technically March 4th. The survey will be closed. After that, you will not be able to fill out the survey. As Kim pointed out, you can fill out the survey as many times you want up till then, but you cannot fill out after then. Literally, if you did not fill out the survey, the next day, we'll track you down and say, these are the majors that have openings, and you have to pick one of those, right? You will not be able to fill out the survey. March 3rd at basically midnight / March 4th, 11:59, March 3rd. You will find out what major you get on Friday. I think that's March 7th.
Great, thank you.
That's that. I still can answer any other questions about majors. I do want to go back a little bit to the presentation from Modern States. I saw in the chat and some people talking about, oh, we could take all these high school classes and get ahead. That is likely not the case, although you might get college credit. I don't know if you're going to get credit. And so, one, he pointed out that you can't get credit for science because there's no labs. But I've not reviewed any of that curriculum in the sense of whether I'm going to give credit for it. And I will caution you also, even if I decide to give credit, you will get CR credit. You will not get a grade for the course. But it's very likely that I don't give you credit at all for that course. And so I'll have to go through each curriculum to determine that, but it's very likely not. And so I surely don't want anybody thinking I'm going to get ahead in high school and graduate a year early and take all these classes or advance myself somehow, or this is a class I don't want to take a tech and I'm going to take it online. It's probably not going to work out that way.
Fair enough. We have a question. Is there any chance the no drop lunch policy will be reevaluated?
I'll reevaluate it possibly at the end of next year, but it will not be reevaluated for next year. And look, the kids need lunch. The kids who usually don't have lunch literally have a 1 to 10 schedule with no food and no break, right? And so lunch serves a couple of things. One, it gives you a break. But two, it gives you, nutrition. Going from 8 o'clock to 3:35 without eating, or having, even if you bring some food, like having a break to eat food like a normal human being is not a good idea. And so from 8 o'clock to 3:35, surely not a good idea either. And so that's pretty much in the same day. And adding on the notion of dropping lunch this break, this food, this nourishment to take another class, we find that that detrimentally adds to students' mental well-being.
It's hard. My daughter had a 1 to 10, and she last year because she's in band, and she literally ate apple slices in the hallway on the way to classes. It's tough. She's very happy to have lunch. Anyway, someone we've got a couple more here. For going back to the majors, do the students have to fill out all 8 slots? What's the recommended number?
You froze on me. Say that again.
For when they fill out for the majors, should they write down 8 majors, or do you have a number that you recommend?
They have to fill out for all 8 majors. The form will not let them go through unless they've made 8 choices. Furthermore, if they try to pick a choice twice, the form won't go through.
Good to know. All right. Someone mentioned the college admissions platform is changing from Naviance to Overgrad. Why is that? I've never heard of Overgrad.
Yeah. A couple of reasons. One, I don't know, Naviance was surely not as user-friendly as we would have liked it to be. They did recently got bought out by a company, and we found that the customer service and the interface was just not what it used to be. The DOE is not really aligned with Naviance as a vendor anymore, and they're embracing 2 different companies, Overgrad being one of them. And we think they have a great product, a lot more user-friendly, and so we're making the switch.
And we actually, Tiffany and I and a few other members of the board were able to see a demonstration. Again, it seems like a very good platform. So we're going to learn together, and I'm excited. My daughter's a junior, and so they'll be really the first class to use it, and it looks like it's actually very user friendly. So let's fingers crossed that is true. Next question: if a student likes both engineering, non-BME, and health science, is there a low likelihood of being able to get AP Bio as a senior?
Sure. Yeah. We can't mix and match majors, but absolutely, there's at-large sections of AP Bio that you can pick up as an elective. It's gonna be mindful anything, but sure. Are you gonna be able to take AP Bio and BC Calculus? Not likely, both double period classes, but sure, there would absolutely be a seat for you in AP Bio as a senior as an elective.
Is there information on the approximate size of each major?
That's determined by what your kids want, right? So if 100 kids want the math major, it's going to be 100 kids in the math major. If 400 kids want the math major, 400 kids are getting the math major. So I don't have these preconceived notions of, certain majors. Look, I have 2 robotics labs. I can't build a 3rd. And so there are some that are confined by the actual space we have, but not too many. And so it's really just what the kids want.
All right. How likely is it that students will get their first choice for majors?
I bend over backwards to make sure that students get their first choice. If it means hiring a teacher, so be it. And so that's my job. That's my job, to make sure I can make it happen. Last year, 95% of students got their first choice.
And I have to say, my 3 kids, they all got the major they wanted. My kids are not like 99 average. Mr. Newman does work very, very hard to get them, the major that they want. All right, next question. Were the AP bills sent out yet, or when can we expect them?
I'm going to think no. And I don't know when they're going to get that. Finance is not my department. But I can find out the follow-up and let you know, Kim, and then just spread it out.
Absolutely.
The last I heard is that they were supposed to be sent out last week, but they'll be going out maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
We can confirm.
Thank you.
I'll let you know. Okay.
All right, next one. Hearing through the grapevine that there might be a summer pre-calc class sophomores can take. Is that true? And if so, when will information be circulated about that?
I don't think there's gonna be a summer pre-calc for sophomores. I don't see why sophomores would need that class. Yeah, there's no reason to like hyper accelerate. I mean, if your goal is you really want multivariable calculus, I think you could work things out. I don't think you need to go to summer.
When can we find out what classes will be offered over the summer?
Summer school is not now. Summer school is not for advancement. Summer school is for students to make up credit. And so we base the classes on what kids need. In other words, what credits they're deficient in. So yeah, there'll be most general classes that students need, obviously, to graduate. But once again, summer's not for acceleration; it's for making up credits for some dental fail.
Thank you. What are the most space limited majors?
Once again, I don't know what your students want to pick. I wouldn't call them space limited. So space limited is instead. Okay, yeah, I think you're talking about like my robotics example. That would be robotics, where I just built a second robotics lab. I can't make a third. Others are not really limited by space. I mean, it would be nice for all the more kids to study in the courtroom, but they don't have to. I'm just using that as an example. I don't really know besides robotics if everything's really limited, and we can run a lot of sections with 2 labs with robotics. So I don't think anything's really limited by space. You know, maybe civil engineering needs to get into the space and materials lab. But that's not a major that nobody's had 10 sections or whatnot. I don't know. We'll have to see. But robotics is the only one that's really limited by space. And once again, we just added an additional lab, so we can even expand the major even more than it's already been expanded.
All right. When will students and parents get access to Overgrad?
I think they already have it. I think so, right? Tim, everybody's got it. Tim, I can't hear you. Maybe everybody else.
Sorry, junior parents, I know that we have it. And I think that the sophomore meeting, were they given access, Tiffany?
Yeah, now sophomores have it. And I
All
think
parents
freshmen will have to wait until their next college night, which will be when they're sophomores.
Right. Mr. Newman, can you talk about the internship possibilities for the CTE majors? Does everyone get one? And more general, the pros and cons of CTE majors versus the other ones.
Well, I mean, the kids that want internships likely get one. There is a lot of CTE internships. As you probably know, we have a CTE dedicated workforce supporting board there. It facilitates spines, facilitates visits kids on internships. But those, once again, are only for the CTE kids. Non-CTE kids, we sort of make you aware of what internships are available. You're a little bit more on your own. We are looking to add a non-CTE internship coordinator for next year. I think that would be a big boom as well. I am trying to, this sounds like a little bit of a downgrade, but I am exploring contracting a company out also that gives non-CTE virtual internships, but they're like IBM internships and other major companies, but they're all done from home. And I think if we're able to contract a company, they're going through the process of becoming a vendor as we speak, then students will be able to, maybe later in the spring, but especially this summer, be able to do these virtual internships. So we're looking at that as well. But I think the key piece is getting the non-CTE internship coordinator up and running.
All right. Why the restrictions on the number of AP courses?
I cannot believe it took this long for somebody to ask that question. So here's the thing: it's a two-tiered problem. And one, most of the decision was made from listening to your kids, and the thing is that we find there is definitely a cause and effect correlation between students who take more than 3 APs and academic / mental health issues. And so, look, we're never going to know beforehand who can handle the 5 APs and who can't. But time and time again, we find a student that has loaded up with APs is just not doing well. I'm not talking really so much academically, but mentally and mental health wise. And so we've heard the story time and time again. And I think the idea is we've sort of stepped in for the better mental health of students, whether they want it or not. And so, that's the situation. There's another situation as well that I have plenty of students that complain that they have no APs and they're all worried that they're going to get in college. And I want to say this: taking 900 APs at junior year is not getting you into Harvard. I mean, people think more is increasing your chances of getting to these high desired schools. That is simply not the case. And but anyway, there's plenty of kids that don't have any APs. And the grades aren't as good as some of these other kids. And so as many of the kids that take 4, take 5, then when it ends up that some kids have none. And that's not right. And I want kids to have these types of opportunities, other kids as well. Many schools limit 3 APs. And so for me, it was honestly a no-brainer. Usually more than 3 APs is coupled with also not having lunch, which is another issue. And so we sort of tied this thing together. I'm going to see how it's going to go, but I'm not going to, look, there's some wiggle room here. You have next year, you're a junior and you're like, I want to take 4 APs. I think there's wiggle room in the sense that we can move some things around in your schedule. So you have 3 APs next junior year, but then senior year, we kick one of the APs that allows you to take a senior year. Like for example, one of your 4 APs that you want to take is AP US history, right? So you don't take US history junior year, then government echo junior year, and everything's copacetic, and then you could fit in the APs that you want. So I think there's some wiggle room with some of these courses that they don't necessarily have to be junior courses or necessarily have to be senior courses, so you could sort of work it out. But we're not gonna, for next year, surely we're not gonna have anyone take more than 3, but this does not affect the seniors. So the seniors, I guess they could take 4 or 5, but I'm not likely to let them drop lunch.
All right. If we don't receive our AP bills, do we contact Mary Fune or someone else?
Mary would be perfect. I think she'd love all those contacts. But
that's what I thought.
I'm just glad you didn't say David Newman. But yeah, I think that should go. I'll follow up tomorrow and let Kim and Tiffany know when the bills are actually going out, and then if somebody hasn't received them, where to reach out. But yeah, very seasonal.
Great. Another question about overgrad. Basically, when will the freshmen get access?
I think they're going to have one of these college events, and then after that, when that event is, I'm not sure.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Newman. Will there be more seats for AP Physics for next year? Are there any chances for a senior student in civil engineering to get a seat?
Sure. We've had over the years, we've had problems with AP Physics 1 in the sense of it's been so unbelievably highly selective. We haven't had enough seats to meet the demands. We're looking at a second, probably 3 more, and we'll go from there. And but I think 3 more sections should surely meet the demand that has not been met in the past. But that's what we're looking to do, hire another teacher.
Part 2 is why AP Physics is not a requirement for civil engineering, while electrical engineering has 2 AP Physics classes as part of its major.
These are all, that's a good question. I will tell you that we have obviously a committee of teachers and even student advisory boards that discuss. Sorry, I'm getting dark. It's dark outside, but that discuss the courses that should be in the major. It's not based on teachers that we have. It's more based on their insight into what courses should make the major, and so that's just what has been decided. That they also want. We don't like to duplicate courses in multiple majors because then the majors start looking a little bit alike. So there's that as well.
What are the 3 largest majors?
Historically, look, I don't know what's going to happen, what your kids are going to pick. Historically, popular majors have been software engineering. But I mean, we're going also in recent history. Software engineering didn't even exist a few years ago. And it went from 2 sections to 4 sections to 4 sections to 6 sections, and then finally 8 sections. I mean, it took 5 years basically to grow to the size it is now. I imagine it's going to stay popular. I don't know. So we'll see. Robotics has gotten a surge in the last 2 years, which made me build the lab. And so, but it wasn't as popular 3 years ago. And so, but robotics is being pretty popular. Software engineering, biosci, and maybe like law next. Those have been not in any particular order. Biosci has been very popular, consistently popular over the years. Maybe the most popular major, them in software engineering. And then I would say robotics, and then maybe law in that order. But that's just based on the last couple of years. There could be no kids that want to. I mean, we'll see how kids fill out the application.
Is physics one of the specialties with limited seats due to lab restrictions?
No, it's been, honestly, it's been through personnel, and then just really just personnel. And so, look, if you see something's higher in demand, right, and you go out and hire a teacher, right, and then the next year it's not high in demand, then you hire the teacher. I don't want to get into like total logistics, but then you hire the teacher, and then all of a sudden the next year you don't need them, right? In business world, then you just fire the person, right? In my world, that doesn't happen, and so I have to really think through decisions. So, the example I gave of software engineering, like expanding, I was sort of playing catch up, and then hiring people, knowing that the major was sustainable. So it's not like something's popular this year and all of a sudden you just hire a bunch of teachers. You wait a few years to see if the numbers are stable. So AP Physics wasn't always so popular. Physics won, and then all of a sudden there was a demand for it. We couldn't meet the demand, but I was hesitant to pull the trigger on another physics teacher, not knowing if, going forward, there would be a demand. Something else happened at the same time. Not only the demand for physics won, but a lot more students coming in already having living environment, right? So that has been going through the roof over the last couple of years, right? And so I had to see if that was sustainable, right? So I have less and less students coming in needing living environment. And then I made decisions to give 9th graders 2 years ago the option to take AP Bio to sort of slow them down and not have to go into physics, which I wasn't sure we'd be able to handle anyway, the physics, right? And so, but AP Bio we could handle because less and less kids were needing living environment, right? So it's just, you have to make these like managerial decisions that don't sound great, but you have to like really figure out in the long run what's going to happen. Now I've truly seen that not only is freshmen needing physics sort of expanding, but now it's been cut back because now a lot of people are opting to take AP Bio, right? And so then I do see, though, it has been sustained the demand for Physics 1, and that's why we're going to hire a teacher just for that.
All right. Are there any internship opportunities for physics and math majors?
Sure. I mean, look, through our vast alumni network, which is unbelievably helpful to us, just them alone having internships in their own places that they work, 60,000 strong, many of them still being in New York. Yeah, I mean, there are not, you talk about math and there's, you think, oh, there's not so much, but there might be accounting sort of internships, and maybe you're like, well, I don't really like accounting. I mean, maybe we can get you something near some actuarial science kind of work. But a lot of people also in math fields are educators, both on the college level and high school level. I can't really get you an internship there. Physics people, like, there's plenty of physics, all over the place. And for engineering is physics, and there's plenty of physics related engineering internships. Those are a plan.
All right, thank you. Are there any statistics available for average and highest student GPAs per major?
Wait, highest student GPA per like
Yes.
average student GPA?
Yeah, they said highest, but average and highest.
Yeah, I mean, well, highest would be silly. I'm sure in every major there's a kid who has like a perfect GPA, right? So, or close to it. The average GPA, surely I could break that down year by year. I would be very unlikely to release that information though.
Fair enough. If a student's already struggling academically, can the student request no AP course for junior year next year?
Sure, absolutely. No one's making you take an AP course. I make you take AP Computer Science Principles as a 10th grader, but after that, if there's no AP in your major, we're not forcing AP down your throat.
All right. Can you be a math major and be in math team at the same time?
Absolutely. Many math majors. I mean, the math majors are, the math team is pretty much completely made up of math majors.
All right. Are there going to be more seats for Calculus BC next year? A lot of non-math major seniors wanted and didn't get this year due to limited seats.
Yeah, I'll probably add some more seats. Like, I really like I want every kid to take calculus. I think I've been pretty clear about that. And we've added regular calculus so kids could take that if need be. But BC is tough because it really limits your schedule. I know some kids, many kids want BC. AB is surely a fine course, and colleges, surely accept AB. Differences, it's a single period class versus BC, a double period class. Many kids simply can't really fit into their schedule. But I have no problem. We expanded BC sections this year, and I intend to do it again next year. But yeah, just people start thinking about, it's not really possible to take a double period AP Science, a double period AP Math, and so surely at the same time, and all the science APs are double period. But yeah, the short answer is what you should have led with. We are going to expand sections of BC.
We are getting close to the end. What
Okay.
happens if a child picks a major that they extremely dislike? Can they transfer out?
Okay. If you pick a major before the end of the year, if you want to transfer, you can come to me and I will say, these 4 majors have seats. Which one you want, and I'll put you in, right? I'm obviously not going to redo everybody's major because you want to switch. The first day of the year, the very first day of the year in the fall, right? You go through your classes and you hate them for some reason, and you want to change your major. On the first day, you come to me, same thing. There are seats in these 5 majors, pick one, and I'll change your entire schedule right now. On the second day, you're stuck. So I don't want to hear you on the second day. The first day, you start school on the Thursday, that's it. You could change your major. But after that, it's a done deal. I mean, literally realizing that changing your major. Now, between major selection being done March 7th and the first day of class, there will be 3 or 4 kids that change their major. That's it. That's every year. There's 3 or 4 kids that take me up on this sort of situation, right? But realize that, especially, look, over the summer we make your schedule. So especially the first day, your entire schedule will change. Every class, every teacher, your entire schedule get blown up. So I'll make them, realize that. But it is very rare for students to go through a presentation, hear from these teachers, hear from students, have the very same teachers in the fall, and after one day be like, this is not for me.
All right. Right now, this seems to be our last question, but I make no promises. How hard is
Okay.
it to get into AP Psychology senior year for pharmacy major?
It's hard for anybody to get an AP Psychology. Usually we run one single section, elective section. So there are plenty of sections in various different majors for AP Psychology, but I run one at-large section. I run one section of flight school for non-aero kids, one section of forensic science for non-law kids, and one section of AP Psychology. It's pretty hard to get into. That class has there'll probably be, honestly, 300 kids that want to get in. I only let 34 kids in. I'll tell you why. Mostly, it's that you don't need the class for graduation. I don't have that much bandwidth of teachers who could teach it. I'm not going out and hiring, to be honest, another AP Psychology teacher for a class where kids don't really need the credit to graduate. So it's it's a little difficult. If some of the majors that had AP Psychology became more important, I'd sort of change my tune. But our MO is that electives from majors that are outside for kids outside the major, we run one section of them, and that's it. And so AP Psych is probably the most popular of that. I don't have 300 kids asking for flight school that are not an aero, but yeah, I mean, it's a little bit about being cost effective for a class that no kid needs to graduate. Yeah.
All right. We have one more question. Can sophomores attend any of the junior or senior classes for their major so that they could be able to decide? It may be too late, but just curious.
No, I mean, look, if I let one kid do that, all of a sudden I have hundreds of kids sitting in classes. I can't have that.
And
chaos.
what you can do, and if your child went to the major today, there's so many kids from the majors there to answer questions. And the kids are quite honest, because I know my kids went in with one major in mind and changed because they talked to students that were already in the majors. So that's the best thing they can do, is talk to the kids that are already in there.
Yep, absolutely.
Tiffany, do you have any questions for Mr. Newman before we let him go?
I think that was the last one.
Anything else that you want to ask? We can keep him here a little bit longer. All right, Mr. Newman, I guess you are good to go. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Okay. I just want to close with this. I know people are all anxious about these 3 APs. Trust me when I tell you that it's the right move. It might not be the right move for every single kid, but for most kids, it's the right move. And so I've heard story after story after story, maybe stories that, your kids are not telling you over time, that this is just not such a great idea. So, yeah, so that's that. Look, I could change my mind next year and say I was wrong. I doubt that, but I'm willing to entertain notions about that, but not for next year.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Newman. Get home safely.
Be well, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, Tiffany, do we have anything else we need to cover?
I think that's it. I think that's what most parents joined for, between the speakers. And I just wanted to say, between the major fair and then National Honor Society also have the panels with the majors. The kids have a lot of information. Some of the older students were going into the sophomore advisory classes and into certain classes of theirs just to speak about the majors. If you can email the PA and say, hey, my kid's unsure. We can try to connect you with somebody who's in a major that your kid's considering. but just let them fill out all 8 slots and just like Mr. Newman said, it has to be the kids' choice. They have to want the classes involved, and they'll all be fine. They'll end up where they're supposed to.
And as he said, 95% of the kids will get their first choice. And, you know, if not, if they're miserable, they didn't get it, they can always go talk to him and maybe, you know, he can work a miracle. But most kids really do get the first choice. They shouldn't fret about it.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions before we adjourn for the evening?
Kim, you said 95%?
I think so. Yes.
Yes, 95%.
Okay.
When my eldest, who's now a senior in college, started, that was really the first year. Mr. Newman was he was an acting principal at the time. And back then the numbers were far lower than that. And he works the magic and figured out how to do it for these kids. And there were a lot of kids that were disappointed back then. And now he's got it up to 95%. So it's very likely that your child will get their first choice.
Yeah, like it happened to my older one, like they were required to fill in 3 spots only. So right now we are being told to fill out 8 spots. So some parents said, what about my kids, you know, like don't have 8 spots, right? They worry about that. But so this can assure them 95% get first choice, first choice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it will be good. So just make sure to put the top 3 and then the rest can be randomly, I think.
Exactly. But he said they have to be
I know.
different. All 8 have to be different.
Yeah.
It's just the way they set up the Google form that you have to complete all 8 just for the form to be accepted.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will share that in the WeChat because not all the parents joining the meeting. So, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. And again, this meeting will be available in a day or so that people can watch it.
Okay. So their children can watch it together. All right. Good. Thank you.
And Sharon, Vito just said it will remain available on YouTube going forward tonight.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. So people are leaving. So good night.
Good night. Remember,
Good night.
there's no school next week. Don't send your kids.
That's true. Okay.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Awesome. A second?
I second.
All right. Well,
Third, fourth.
Thank you so much for coming. We hope whatever you're doing that you get to rest and relax during the break next week. And we will post the date shortly for our next meeting in March.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Take care,
everybody. Good night.
Good night.